Alright, let's not waste any more time than we have to. Here are 12 reasons why Bill Gates is objectively better than Jesus. Number 1. The number of lives saved. Bill Gates, blessed be his pecks, has played critical roles in immunizing and vaccinating children, and some figures even source him and his wife, Melinda Gates, as a key factor in decreasing infant deaths by around 122 million children since 1990. Now this is a huge number to go up against. Now don't get me wrong, Jesus has saved a whole lot of lives, but even if we tally up the current population of Israel, Jordan, and even Lebanon for good measure, that's around 20.71 million people. And that's not even the sick people, just all of the people. And that's today. For some more context, the population of the world has grown by about 35 times since then. There's no way he comes even close to 122 million. Jesus might be able to turn water into wine, but Gates can spend billions on making it drinkable. First round goes to BG in a landslide victory, and the Microsoft founder is off to a strong start. Number 2. Beginnings. To really factor in how much of an advantage they each started with, we really have to take a look at their family and background. Privileges need to be checked. Gates was born into a fairly wealthy family in Seattle, Washington. His father was a lawyer and his mother served on the board of directors of the first interstate bank system and the United Way. At age 13, he enrolled in a private school and started writing software code. In a stark contrast, Jesus of Nazareth was born in a manger in Bethlehem. His father was a humble carpenter. Carpenters in the era weren't considered too wealthy or poor, so I think saying they're middle class is fair. So it would seem that Jesus had a harder climb, or at least it would seem that way. Seem it would. Were it not for the fact that Jesus had not one, but two fathers. The second father was the Father. Savior's father had a lot of pull in very, very high places. Point Gates. Number 3. Physical attributes. Now our baby boy Bill had his agility maxed out early on in the game, with feats like leaping over stationary office chairs. But when it comes to displays of raw strength and stamina, Jesus has Bill beat. Easy. Carrying a cross around is no easy feat. Then again, we also have to consider how likely they are to adapt to their surroundings and survive. Gates is currently 63. Jesus died at around 40. Twice. The physical advantage goes to Gates based purely on my made-up standards. Number 4. Jobs. There isn't much information about Jesus' professional portfolio, so I'm going to go ahead and assume he was one of the best carpenters in the area before he really started Jesusing hard towards the end. Even as the best carpenter, he was nowhere close to being the richest carpenter, whereas Bill Gates held the title of richest man for 18 years. As far as professional careers go, nobody can really argue that Gates isn't superior. Another landslide win for Gates. Number 5. The number of followers. Gates has 46.3 million followers on Twitter, and as we discussed earlier, there are only about 20.71 million people in the Jesus area of influence right now. And a lot of them weren't huge fans of the guy. Some may say Twitter wasn't even a thing back then, which is a fair thing to say. After all, if Twitter existed back then, it would be a miracle. Who would possibly have the kind of power to create a miracle back in that day and age? Oh, I don't know, maybe the Son of the Lord? Literally the only man anywhere who had the ability to make miracles happen. Gates comes in with yet another huge number win. Number 6. The number of books written. Alright, so the internet wasn't a major thing back then, but both Gates and Jesus had access to paper. That's one recognizable way of conveying information. That's the one way you can spread your message. So how many books has Billy G written? He has written 2 books over the course of his life. Now that may not seem like a huge number, but how many books did Jesus write? That's correct, it's a total of 0 books exactly. Some members of his crew got together and wrote about half a book, but other than that, we're coming up with nothing. Gates takes it again. Number 7. Modes of transportation. A guy's ride is often used as a symbol of status, so let's take that into consideration. Jesus can walk on water. This changes everything. The man could walk across oceans if he wanted to. He could clearly walk across a desert. How can BG even compete with that? Oh yeah, that's right, in literally every imaginable way. In a private jet, walking on water seems pedestrian compared to flying across the globe. Planes didn't exist back then. You know what did? Miracles and creativity. Number 8. Impact on others. Now Jesus had a strong impact on people. A lot of people are huge fans even to this day. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. He has impacted the world in so many great ways. His fans give shelter to the homeless people, contribute for massive societal change. All that leads back to the Savior. Unfortunately, this piece of logic would also mean that crusades, wars, and inquisitions lead back to him. I think it's unfair to blame Jesus for the evil actions of others who did so in his name. But by the same token, I'd also have to say that the post-mortem good cannot be credited to him either. I extend this logic to Billy Boy Gates. The influence you have on other people is something to be proud of, but it's really not something we can take into account here. Number 9. Property tax. It goes without saying that Bill Gates pays a ton in property taxes. Probably and arguably not as much as he should, but he does pay a lot. Let's take a look at how much the House of the Lord pays in property tax. Oh right, they don't. Number 10. Attractiveness.
It's easy to have many lovers, but you believe I'm on my side.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo and subscribe for new videos every day.